Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, I have a story for you here today of a man who discovers his wife was planning to divorce him and take everything, obviously. So instead, he outsmarted her. Now, a lot of modern women will try and actually play the long game and get into marriages with men only to divorce them and try and take everything. So it's good to see a story where the man actually keeps his things, I assume. So let's jump into this one. A man stumbles upon a series of text messages and private notes that reveal his wife is secretly planning a divorce, but not just any divorce. She wants to blindside him, take full custody of their child, so they have one child, and clean him out financially. Instead of confronting her immediately, he plays along, quietly builds his own case, protects his assets, and flips the script in court. His calm, strategic approach leaves her stunned when she realizes that she's the one walking away with nothing. So not only is the woman in this situation planning to actually take the dude's resources, it says assets, so I assume maybe he has even multiple houses or, you know, a lot of money in stocks or something, I don't know. But she's trying to take everything plus full custody of the child. So we'll see how this works out for her. But this is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, people will, they'll see situations like this and they'll be like, oh, that doesn't happen. It absolutely does happen to men. A lot of guys go into very long-term marriages thinking that they have found the one, only for the wife to have been playing the long game and try and take everything he worked for. Let's continue. He says, I always knew something was off, but I didn't expect this. I will start by saying I'm not the dramatic type. I'm 36. I work in IT, have a 4-year-old son, and up until recently, I thought I had a stable, maybe a little boring, but solid marriage. My wife and I have been together for 7 years. Had been together for 7 years. The first few were great, but somewhere around year 5, things started changing. She became more distant, less affectionate, always on her phone, but I chalked it up to the usual stress, parenting, money, work, whatever. I should have trusted my gut. So here's the thing. We have a wife who, guards her phone now, always on her phone, probably guards it too, let's be real, more distant and less affectionate. Now, people will call you crazy for speculating on things like this, but this usually means that the woman is, at the very least, talking to some other guy, at the very least. A lot of these situations, you actually find out that the woman was just straight up cheating, having an affair, and so on. I think that dudes should be way more inclined to trust their gut when it comes to these things, guys, especially when kids are involved. I mean, sometimes the kids are not even the dude's child to begin with. It's really disgusting, guys. Like, you would be surprised how common paternity fraud actually is, where men are raising children that are not even their own. So let's continue here. It started by accident. She left her laptop open one morning while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping, I swear, but an email subject line caught my eye. So this guy was snooping. I don't know if you walk past a laptop, maybe my eyesight's not fantastic or something, but I don't know. I don't think maybe she zooms in a lot on the laptop, so the emails are very large, but he sees it nonetheless. Custody filing prep, timeline, question mark. My heart sank. I opened the thread and saw a long conversation between her and a lawyer I didn't even know she'd hired. She was asking how to, quote unquote, position herself as the more stable parent, how to isolate shared funds, and here's the kicker, how to encourage me to move out voluntarily so it wouldn't look like she was kicking me out. So they're really trying to, position this correctly so that she can get the full custody. The whole tone was cold, calculated, like I was some business she was strategically dismantling. A lot of guys are very shocked to realize that women can be cold and calculating. He says, according to the emails and notes, she was planning to 1. File for divorce in roughly 2 months, file for sole custody of our son, number 2. Number 3, claim the house, which is technically under both of our names. If you're a dude and why would you put the house in both your names? I'm sorry, guys, but I know in a lot of these situations, the man is the one who is typically paying either A, all of the mortgage, or B, most of it, and yet he still decides to put his wife's name on there. I think that is so stupid. Like, let's be real about it, guys. A lot of these situations, the men are the providers. The men are the ones who are out there working, or at least predominantly working, compared to the woman who usually becomes the stay-at-home parent, at least for a time. Okay? So if you're the one putting up everything financially, or at the very least most of it, I really don't think you should get a house together and put both of your names on the legalities. Seems incredibly risky to me. And granted, a lot of these guys think that their relationship is going to last forever. They think that the marriage is going to last forever, but it's clearly not. Like, you got to be wise about this stuff, guys. Divorce rates nearly 50%, okay? 70 to 80% of the time, the divorce is initiated by the woman. Goes as high as 90% if she's college educated. Can't be doing stuff like this, in my opinion. And also, they're going to allege that he had grown emotionally unstable and difficult. What an insulting phrase, by the way. Difficult. Unstable and difficult. Interesting. She was even talking to a friend about documenting, quote unquote, times I seemed off. Apparently, probably just me being tired after work. It felt like a movie, but this wasn't fiction. It was my life. This kind of reminds me of that situation, guys. I don't know if you saw like this big YouTube thing, you know, the Crowder from Louder with Crowder, man. How his wife had, like, you know, conveniently she took all the footage from their camera that was out the back of their house, but she deleted the rest of it despite the court instructing her not to. And it was just very, very, what's the word, like staged. You know, like she was trying to position Crowder to come across as like an a-hole and become, quote unquote, unstable and difficult. And the problem is, a lot of guys don't think that women will do this, but they absolutely will. Very meticulous, try and frame you as a certain sort of person, you know, cut you out of context, get documentation from people who purport you to be some way that you're typically not. It's actually quite a common strategy, guys. It really is. People think that this is nonsense, that men don't get treated like this. They absolutely do. Men get ruined in divorce courts. They get robbed of their assets, everything they worked for, and oftentimes their kids as well, because they're framed to be dangerous. You know, like, and the problem is, it can be easy to frame a dude as dangerous because you just have to piss him off and set up the right conditions. You know? Like, everyone has a temper. Everyone's going to lose their marbles if you poke them in just the right way. And I guarantee you, a lot of these long-term wives know how to frustrate their husbands. They know what buttons to press. They know how to try and make you look terrible. And it's just a real mess. Let's continue here. He says, the biggest temptation was to lose it, confront her, yell, ask how she could do this, but I didn't. I knew if I gave her anything emotional, she would use it. So instead, I, A, immediately created backups of all of her emails and messages. B, consulted a divorce attorney in secret. Very smart. C, started moving half of our joint savings to a separate account under my name, which is perfectly legal in our state. Like, so. Because she was probably going to try and take all of this as well, let's be real. Installed a couple of discrete security cameras in shared areas, which is legal in our state too, and began keeping a detailed log of my daily interactions with her and our son. So the reason why this dude's doing this, by the way, is because obviously the woman's trying to paint him like a psycho who's not fit for the parenting role, who shouldn't have custody of their children. And so what he has to do is he has to install these to show them, I'm assuming, that he is indeed a normal person who's perfectly safe to be around. And that he is, being framed in this particular situation. He says, I acted like everything was normal, even slightly more affectionate, just to keep her feeling safe and unsuspecting. How sad is this, by the way? He has to keep a detailed log of his daily interactions with her and our son. That is so sad. It really is. 2 months later, as expected, I came home to the talk. She sat me down, looked serious but fake empathetic, and said, I think we've grown apart. I want a divorce. I hope we can keep this civil. You know, he played the part, said that he understood. He'd move into his brother's place for now, and we'd talk through things like adults. She beamed, probably thought her plan was working. Yeah, at this point, I guarantee you she was feeling so excited. You know, she was probably elated at this point. Then I served her first. so he's that's so funny. So he serves her ass the divorce papers first. That is comedy. Like, he's like, no problem. In fact, my lawyer's here right now. Let's get it rolling. That is fantastic. This is the first time I've seen, this exact situation happened where the dude's like, you know what? Let me initiate it. I'm ready to go. That's hilarious. The next morning, I had my lawyers file first something that matters in our state. That makes sense, right? Because, if she's trying to get it done first, under the assumption that, you're an evil and terrible person, but like, how did you know to file first? It's interesting. Because I had proof of her premeditated strategy, it undercut her credibility. I also filed for 50-50 custody with supporting evidence showing that I was an active, stable, and engaged parent. So this guy, not only did he file immediately, he filed with what he needed, right? He had proof of her premeditated strategy, which made her look like trash. Fantastic. He also filed immediately for 50-50 custody. I don't even know if this is wise. Maybe you should just file for 100% custody at this point. I don't really know in this situation, man. Like, because she was trying to steal the kid from you entirely. So what's going to happen in 50-50 custody is she's probably going to try and convince the child as the child grows up that you're a terrible and evil person as well if you have 50-50 custody. It's not like 50-50 custody where both parents are like, okay, trying to make it work and everything. This is 50-50 custody where your wife is like she was actively trying to do everything cloak and dagger behind closed doors beforehand, right? So she's going to try and make the child strongly dislike you. I can guarantee you that right now. So not pushing for 100% custody right away, an argument could be made that maybe you should have. So he launched everything, showed that he was an engaged parent. He brought the evidence of everything. The financials were already partly separated, and since she never asked me to stop it, it wasn't considered dissipation. Her reaction when she was served, she looked like someone had pulled the rug from under her. That expression would have been very funny. It really would have. She thought I'd crumble, but I was ready. In mediation, her whole strategy fell apart. The judge and our mediators saw right through her unstable dad narrative. My logs, the messages, and even character references from friends helped shut it down fast. She also tried to claim that I emotionally abandoned the family. Emotionally abandoned. I swear, guys, these psycho wives and girlfriends, they love just making up random words and phrases, don't they? Oh, I was emotionally abandoned. The man lacks emotional intelligence. Okay, emotional this, emotional that. Nothing that can be quantified, by the way. Notice that? Right? It's never like, oh, the man did X action, okay, and here's the proof that I can demonstrably show. No, it's always something real damn vague that you can't measure whatsoever. So she tried to claim that I emotionally abandoned the family, but all the messages and photos from the last few months painted a very different picture. I didn't even have to reveal the laptop stuff. The rest was strong enough on its own. Hilarious. Their end agreement was 50-50 custody. He kept his share of the house, so they sold it and split profits. All accounts were audited and divided fairly. No spousal support. Oh, hell yeah. She was shocked and angry, but had nothing to fight with. I didn't quote-unquote win because I was vindictive. I won because I stayed calm, paid attention, and didn't let my emotions screw me over. That's actually a fantastic lesson in this story, guys, is not letting your emotions take over. This guy got off very lucky, but he did everything that he needed to do. Fantastic stuff. So she got completely screwed over. I love the Uno reverse where she was like, she's the one who asked for divorce, and the very next day he got his lawyer to file it immediately and put in everything that he wanted to get done with supporting evidence. Absolute comedy. Guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.